It's the weekend, guys, on the farm with Toon and Lee. Well, it's the weekend, so you know it's Lee from Toon and Lee. Saturday is market day, of course, so I'm single again for about 2 or 3 hours while Toon's gallivanting around the market with her mum and her little niece. Favourite day of the year for me, Saturdays. Well, it used to be paydays, that was my favourite day. Oh, I've been up since 4:30. I was re-sowing my coriander seed for the 3rd time. We bought some new seed from town and I soaked that, or I cracked it and soaked it overnight and potted that up this morning in the seed trays. Hopefully they're going to germinate this time. Right then, today's video in the blustery conditions as previously. I don't know, really hot wind the last couple of weeks or so. Anyway, the fence and gate that has changed our life. There's Goat Island, and here we've got a fence that runs from subsurface in the lake all the way up here. A gate with retrofitted built-in stiles to get over it. All right, Doris, you don't bite me anymore, do you, girl? Hey? You don't bite me anymore. Officially no longer a vampire, eh, girl? Hey? That's steady. And then it goes down to that side there. Then we've got the fence pond, so we've got the fence exterior going all the way to there, and then there's a gap of about 4 or 5 foot the other side where the access goes into the fence pond, and we put another section of fence in there so the goats can't get back this way. Now, good thing about this is now the goats keep all the outside of the fence pond area clean now, because they tend to congregate here. It's normally a race. Well, you saw the race, didn't you, from here all the way around there and back onto there to get their favourite Lucina at the end of the day. So they've already had a feed this morning. What we do, we let them round that way at the moment. There's some untouched pasture over there, so that's probably the most green area on the farm apart from me raised beds. So they have a good feed in there for about half an hour. There's another fence and a gate over there, which I'll show you in a minute. We squeeze them through there. They are kicking and screaming. They don't want to go in there because it's all brown stuff over there, which is more healthy for them. But, you know, it's not as tasty as the lush green stuff. So we lock them in there. And then that's it for the day. We just have to keep coming back, making sure that they're all right, no one's giving birth. I just bring out a big bucket of water with their vitamin and healthy bacteria additive put in there. That needs topping up once per day. But that's it, they're out. Right, what I'm going to do, I'm going to drop down, get off this road, because this road round the lake, because it is so windy. Then hopefully you can hear all the good stuff, can't you? Oh, I had a spring in my step there. You can tell it's Saturday, can't you? I've done my top button up. I just thought, I haven't worn this shirt for a little while, basically because it's Thai, made in Thailand, and it's made of plastic, so you do sweat a lot. But because it's quite early morning, I thought let's get it off the old hanger and pop it on for you guys. So I have made an effort. Of course, I haven't shaved. I've still got the old George Michael. It's getting a bit out of control now. Manscaping is up to date though, so it's not all bad. Right then, let's have a butcher's down here, because some of you will have watched our catching the fish by hand video that we did a few weeks ago. Look, I have been busy, boy. I've took nearly all the hyacinth out. I've left a couple of bits here and there, but where it was thickest, so all this has come out. I've just took it out from the outside areas. The reason being that this will be the main stock for it regrowing as soon as the rains come back. There's still quite a bit of morning glory in there, and still some of the alligator weed. I'm waiting for that to really dry out and then get it out. It's quite a pig to get out. The morning glory I'm just leaving in there for the goats, so they normally come down here. But look at this. Notice how I've purposely left my shadow in the shot. fantastic vlogging skills. But you can see now, these go down a long way. And somewhere down there are fish hiding. I know it sounds crazy, doesn't it? But they are in here. Now, we didn't drain down the far end near the pipe that comes through next door. We did that last year and it was quite good. We got about 7 or 8 snakehead and some catfish and lots of silverfish. But this year we didn't really have much time available to do it when we really needed to do it. So we just let it dry out. So there should be quite a few snakehead deep down then. And by the time the next rainy season comes, could be about another 6 months, I'm going to have all my weeping dams set up on far side. So the bloke next door isn't going to get as many free snakehead from me this year. Tight, you know, tighter than a duck's what's it. This bit has been dry for quite a considerable time longer than the other area that we caught the fish. Someone was asking about the bamboo that we planted a long time ago, try and stabilise this bank here, you know, with the shallow root system. But you can see it's done fantastically well. Oh, yeah, it all died. Note to Lee and Toon, must remember not to plant a lot of things right at the start of a 6-month drought. Oh, we weren't coming out of bloody water in over 100 bamboo cuttings, I know that. But anyway, we might do it later, we might not. Oh, it's getting hot quite quickly now I'm out the wind. The plastic t-shirt's starting to melt. Right, I'm gonna have to get back. I'm gonna have to try and find somewhere that's half windy, aren't I? No, it's still howling. He yesterday saw something quite fascinating. Well, I thought it was. Originally, I thought it was one of the large water monitor lizards that had got something in the lake. It was splashing around. So I went running over and it wasn't. It was a small shoal of walking catfish, and they'd grabbed hold of one of the common birds out here. They're quite a slender bird and they're mostly black and white. And at night time they keep you awake like crazy. Well, they do here because there's loads of them around the lake. But I think they're called nook because that's the noise they make. Nook means bird, but yeah, it's or not. But it wasn't making because it was being dragged under by the catfish. So they're eating well. Good job we don't go swimming in there anymore. This coming Thursday they're forecast 40 degrees, well, for Thursday and Friday, but it's gradually just rising by a degree or so every day now. It's proper hot. Trying to get the goat food cut. We have to do it. We really have to do it in the heat of the day. It's quite hard going, but it certainly was yesterday. Right then, let's show you this fence this side. Not quite as good down there. You can see the fence is extended out, so as the water drops, I'll just continue that further down, so it hugs the contour, the slope of the side of the shelf on the outside of the lake. Looking good. Now, there was one concern I had when I came to check what the guys had done, and I do need to flip it over. They seem to have put the small holes on the fence at the top, rather than down the bottom, so the little goats can come straight out. Thankfully, our baby goats are incredibly well behaved and none of them have come out. The only two, well, I call them shit bags, Lucy and Yeti, who we've raised by bottle, and they're still coming to terms with actually finding out that they are goats. They're fighting against it, but no, they think they should be everywhere with us, so we've probably been a little bit too clingy with them, and we shouldn't have handled them so much. But it's hard, isn't it? They're quite cute. Not cute now, I tell you. Right, have a look at this bit. It looks brilliant. Well, I think it does. So where the drainage ditch is here, the guys had to do a bit of jiggery pokery in there. I think they've done a really good job. And like quite a few jobs with these guys, we've just told them what we want doing and they come up with the design. A couple of times I've come out and gone, ooh, I'm not so sure about that, fellas. Toon, and you come and have a word with them. But apart from that, it's quite good. We've got them to make the gate oversized, so when you swing it out via the ingenious hinge setup there, when Bullseye comes and gets a bit moody, he can't bust this out. So the other side, not so much. It stopped a little bit shorter, so Toon just attached another piece of wood that went across, so it hits it against there, and then we put the two railings across. I don't want to walk back the same way I just come, so I'm going to try and skip over the fence. So I've got no style this, well, you know, of course I've got style. I've got no style to step over the fence, so I'm going to have to risk splitting my ball bag. Let's have a little meander around here then. Well, it's the weekend, isn't it? If you can't have a meander on a weekend, when can you? The level in the lake, people have been asking me about that. Well, this side, of course, it never floods up onto the top shelf. Well, I suppose the road is the top shelf, but this shelf down here, this never ever floods. Well, it hasn't done so far. I'd love it to this rainy season. But overall, I think it's dropped. I would estimate, well, you can actually see it from here. Halfway up there, you can see a green line of weeds. So I would put that at almost 2 foot. It's dropped about 2 foot, which is brilliant. I thought it would be dropping a lot quicker, purely because although it did get 100% full by the end of the rainy season, as soon as it was full, within a week or two, it bloody didn't rain again. I think we've had one bit of drizzle since then. So it didn't really have time to fully saturate. You know, I'd have loved it to have been at that level for 3 or 4 months, and for the water to gradually start moving back up to the higher parts of the land. Then when that's all saturated, then start to let the water out next door. So overjoyed with that, and it should get better year upon year, I imagine. Fingers crossed, eh? I'm going to drop down on the bloody shelf again in a minute. I'm going to get bloody earache from the wind. Before I drop down there though, here's a quick look at the main part of the pasture on the farm. I still want to divide this up into sections, so that ideally I'd like 7 separate cells on the land, 2 days on each cell, and that'll give 2 weeks break for parasites. So that's the long-term plan, but it's a lot of fencing. We've got a few posts left over, but nothing, nowhere near what we would need. So that's something that we will do as and when. So because it's a really big area, what I thought is when we can do it, we'll split it in half first, and then keep on subdividing from that each time the funds are available to do it. So that's the long-term plan there. Of course, the pasture is really brown now, the majority of it. The real green stuff that's left is the eucalyptus and this sort of grass, which they would eat as a last resort. They'd actually eat the brown stuff before they'd eat that. Still loads and loads of fodder down there. It's just that they didn't have enough time to work through the pasture during the rainy season, because it grows so quickly. And remember, we haven't burnt, we haven't sprayed, we haven't tilled, so there was a lot of carbon that went back into the ground that, well, I don't know the last time that happened here, probably a millennium. So things grew way too quick for the herd to cope with. And of course, earlier in the year the herd wasn't as strong in number as it is now. So next rainy season will be really interesting. I know I keep on getting questions, how many goats can you keep on your land, and how many goats can you keep on per eye. I will do a video on that, but talking about all the variables rather than give a precise answer, because there's no correct precise answer on that one. Now that all the pasture's starting to get trodden down by the herd, you can now see again the ditch that we had dug out by a macro man many moons ago. So this is where I'm going to put all my weeping dams in, because the soil is, the land is higher that way, so it's sloping that way and down from the back all the way along here and gradually out to next door. So I'd like weeping dams so it'll fill up when it gets to a certain height, and it will come over there onto the next one. But what I'd like to do, talk about ingenious, is use the soil that I'm making the weeping dams with and the rocks right next to where the weeping dams are going to be, and so it'll create a bit of a pool prior to that and after that. So it's going to come along, drop right down, then come up. You can have your dam that the goats can walk across as well, and then another deep scoop underneath. And then as the water's dropped down, that's where your fish will be. Wild fish for free. Best eating fish you can get in Thailand. Your snakehead and your catfish that you got in the wild. I know I keep saying it, but you got to try them, guys. Absolutely beautiful. Ugly as sin, but brilliant out the pan. Back down on the shelf. Look at this. Oh, just going to show you, look. Imagine this when it's all matured up. We have started planting stuff all the way around that side. A few bits and bobs over here, which we think the goats won't have. But you never know. Check out this for a Mr. Crabtree spot. Hey. Now, if I was a fisherman with time on my hands, I'd plonk my arse just down here and I'd get my optonics out, 2 or 3 rods, one over to Macro Man Point and one onto Poacher's Deep over there. Really, really good. Look at the little chop on the water there coming in, bringing all sorts of surface food and warm water. All bits and bobs will be collecting over there. Small fish will be feeding on that, big fish will be feeding on those small fish. I know, we've got to stock it, haven't we? I've got to get my arse in gear and drain the fence pond. Don't keep nagging me, I will do it. Right, I'm going into the eye of the storm now. Look at that. That reminds me of casting my mackerel feathers into the sun, wind in my face on Mackerel Rock in Anglesey. Fish there all day, come back to the tent in the afternoon and wonder why the skin on my face was tight. You can see me jogging track that I use twice a day, 10 laps each time. The goats use this as well. I remember jogging, Jesus. The amount of bloody years of my life I wasted doing that. That's why my knees are all shot to pieces. Joking aside, I do break into a little jog now and again. It's my newfound vitality. Oh, I've given away my next word, haven't I, for my next giving up booze for a year update. I'll have to think of another one now. Now look at this, guys. This is the ultimate predator swim on the lake. If you ever get the opportunity to come and fish here, this is where I'll be dragging you if you want something that eats other fish and stuff. So in line with Haribo Goat over there, this is where we had an old dam, and Macro Man left it a bit uneven and a little bit higher than the rest of the bottom of the lake there, so the contours are nice for hiding, for ambush predators. Round here, this is probably the narrowest part of the lake now. But here, all round this little mountain that we've left there, which is going to be the location, hopefully one year we're going to do the Swiss Family Robinson treehouse. You've got shade almost all day to some degree here. And what we got there, I'll just kneel down like I'm fishing. We got Macro Man to really shave it steeply off the side there, so it drops nice and deep. And then of course most of you'll know, just round the corner here we got them to dig an extra deep area for really big fish to hide in the bottom there. And that's what we nicknamed the glory hole. You drop your worm in there and something's going to give it a right old pull, I dare say. Look at that, eh? You probably won't be surprised to learn that I really enjoyed stalking. Not people, but there was one girl when I was 13, stalked her for a while, but her parents didn't like that. But stalking fish and fishing nice and close and to features, that's what I really like. I'm not really for these huge expanses of water where you just cast out into the horizon, you know, like a bloody beach caster. I know if you want lakes to hold really big fish, then you need a huge expanse of water. But no, I think if we don't populate this lake too heavily, we can still get the really big fish, and we can fish in all these nooks and crannies, and I think it'll make for a nice venue. Talk about fishing all the time makes me want to get my rods out. But this is the beauty of having the goats out here now, whereas previously, like some of my other videos where I was actually free ranging with the goat herd with no fence, we didn't even have the perimeter fence. Beautiful. Can't wait for the next rainy season, get stuff planted in here. Some of you are concerned about us growing lilies in here, them taking over. No fear, they've all got bloody eaten. Well, I think we've still got two. There's so many different species of fish in here. There's obviously a few that are noshing on it. Over here, basically over where the glory hole is, which is about there, that's where the walking catfish got that yesterday. I'm now approaching the lowest point of the lake where the shelf goes. Well, the shelf goes all the way around the outside. You can see it's still very wet underfoot, right near the edge. There's fish coming up all the way along here. This was under about a foot of water at the height of the rain season. We had all sorts of commotion going on in here, with catfish and snakehead chasing all the other fish and stealing me frogs on my hooks and all that sort of stuff. It's still a little bit bouncy underfoot. I won't be able to go too much further. But yeah, I was putting our standing hooks here. Night time. Something kept on stealing me frogs. This corner area holds a lot of fish. So anyone that does like a long throw when they're fishing, that's a fair old chuck across there. So you can give it some welly. Yeah, you need about 1.5 ounce lead to get across there. But honestly, you're not going to need to fish very far out, because we've got the macro man to slope the sides, both sides, the island and the shelf, nice and gradually. So although it looks nice and wide now, the deepest part of the lake is not a huge area. Ooh, see what I mean? Let's go and look at some goats. While we're doing that, I'll talk about the perimeter, the fence and the boundary of the land, because of course I did do a video on a boundary dispute which had been kicked off, and things have moved along since then. So let's try and get up here without breaking my neck. Balance of a cat. Yeah, you lot haven't seen Bullseye's massive genitalia for ages, have you? So go and have a look at his nads. All right, onesie girl. Brownie, my girl. Blackjack, up the duff again, hey? You like a bit of bully, didn't you? Hoover, still beautiful, eh? Gypsy, the one who never does as she's told. Terrible. Slim, who was named accordingly when we first got her, because she was so slim. Not long given birth and not slim again. Hello, Geraldine. Lost a tooth, didn't you? It's the start of the end for you, girl, but I'm trying to talk Toon round to keeping you for another year, girl. Hey? I haven't got any corn, no. I ain't got any corn, honest. Bullseye, get them out for the lads. Still looking good, eh? Helped him manscape yesterday morning. Looking good for the weekend's action. Right then, enough testicular close-ups. Let's go and have a look at some fence. Brilliant. Look, the fence pond of death isn't half so scary now. Look at that. Starting to grow back a little bit in there though. Seen a couple of whopping snakehead in there. Hello, Yo-Yo. Hey, good girl. Yeah, one of my favourites. Oi! He does like to approach me from behind, this boy. Yes. Look, mate, you got about 60 girls to take care of. You got no time for me. Righty-ho. So onto the perimeter fencing. The good news is we found some brilliant wire. So the little kids can't get out of this, but we found it a little bit too late. We'd already done about half the farm before we found this stuff, and it was actually cheaper and stronger than the original stuff. Now, we did make a bit of a mistake. Can't blame it on the guys, because Toon and I didn't pick up on it until it was a little bit too late. Put the fence on the outside the post, didn't we? Which, initial thoughts should be like, well, yeah, I don't want to lose those 3 or 4 inches all the way around the land, so we'll put it on the outside of the post and good to go. Goats like pushing against fences, don't they? So we get this effect where it bows out and it puts pressure on here. So originally the guys had only put this round two areas, top and bottom, so we've got them to do that. But you can see it goes really tight. You look at Bullseye, I don't know, it must be about 80 kg at least, I would have thought. It's a big old boy. So it does push that out, and sometimes the guys had only put that round once. Yeah, no, I did tell him to wrap it round twice or 3 times, but I was weeing into the wind. I'm not going to moan though, those 2 guys are absolutely incredible. This fence that they've put in all round the land bar the front of the property, yeah, they've done all of that apart from the little bit where I nearly lost where I nearly lost my eyesight from stribbing and had to do all the hospital trips. And then you guys all clubbed together and helped us out, and it was those 2 guys and another couple of guys, and over a couple of days they just blitzed it and set up an area where we could at least let the goats out and let someone look after them while we were doing our hospital trips. So apart from that, they've done all this themselves. We did get a post hole drill, one of these big, whatchamacallits, to drill all the post holes for them, but it's flipping useless. Well, it's not a useless machine if you haven't got rocky land, which our place is, of course. So what was happening, as soon as you'd get like a few inches down, you'd hit the rock and your shoulder would come out of its bloody socket. So it very, very dangerous. That's just in the garage now. I'll go and look at it sometimes and stroke it, but can't use it for anything as of yet. I think we paid about, I think it was about 2,500–3,000 baht off Lazada for it. So not a huge amount, but it's not the point, is it? Now stuck with a machine that I can't think what to use it for. I just thought, oh, about 300–400 posts holes to dig, that, you know, you're gonna get that back with the labour it saves. But yeah, in the end they dug every single hole by hand. Every post is concreted in. I can hear you saying, don't care about your bloody fence, mate. Want to know what's going on with this boundary dispute? Is it all kicked off big time? It's Thailand, isn't it? It's not even been 3 years yet. No, what has happened? The guy to this side, which I just showed you here, guy that owns all that apart from the last little bit, he's got one of those laser thingies. So Toon sort of like sweet mouthed him and like, do you fancy, you know, bringing that over for a day? We'll have a couple of beers. This was before I gave up alcohol, I'll have you know, and set that up, and we'll see where our boundaries are. He's like, are you sure? Yeah, we're sure. Because I'm sure that your dad planted a few trees on my land, and that is not the true boundary. So we're like, well, whatever. We just want one side absolutely 100% sure where the boundary is, and then we can measure like the other side. So the only thing is, we didn't know where the post was down there. So we spent quite a while, well, the guys spent quite a while digging around where we thought it was, and they eventually found it. It was way down. It was proper Supagore post for landing out boundaries, for marking out boundaries. So they found that. It was definitely the original. And so we put a bamboo pole up from that, went back up there, we shot the laser all the way down, and sure enough, to our surprise, some of our trees were in his land. But two and a half. Two were right in there. Another one was bang on. And guess what trees they were? Our best original moringa trees. So he said, don't worry, just leave them there. Toon was like, no, because you might not own that land in the future. I know you're not supposed to sell Supagore, but you never know. Or he may leave it to one of his kids. That's supposed to be what happens. And then we got all sorts of problems again. So Toon took the executive decision to chop them down. Gutted. So the goats had a good feed. I was almost in tears. I collected all the seed pods and the seeds that were ready. We ate a few that were too green, and then I just chopped and dropped the bits that the goats wouldn't eat, and that's it. Our giant moringas are no more. The good news is though, I'm growing about 200 of them. Right. So that's this side done down to that post. Then it goes off slightly at an angle. We'd already got the far corner done, so that was brilliant. So then we measured across there, posting. That's the side where we've been having the real issue. Well, we've had issues both sides. There's a bloke that this side being kept on coming into our land with a tractor, chopping it up. And sometimes now appreciate that some of those instances he wasn't on our land, but sometimes it was. So generally, we haven't lost anything this side. In fact, I think we've gained a little bit because we'd gone a little bit too far, or Toon's father had gone a little bit too far up near the house. The middle's about right, but then it had gone the other way, going down there, which is the biggest area. So I think we're a little bit up there. It's not worth trying to work it out what we've got. It's not a lot. Moving on to the other side, which was a bit more of an issue. Firstly, the same tractor guy had been up to his usual tricks. But also, although the road that butts up to our land on that boundary, Toon's land rather, it is in her deeds. That is supposed to be classed as her road. But it has to be kept open for public access because there's other farms down there. There's no other way to get to them. But what was happening, the road kept on coming over and over and over gradually every year. So we measured up. You can see that it needed to go quite a lot further over, but that would have left about a 2-foot road. And how can I put it? I don't want to get in trouble what I say. The husband and wife that own the other side, unfortunately, her other half passed away at the time that we were doing all this. Now, we'd already lodged a complaint to Supplegore office. We got it backed up by the police, which sounds a little bit over the top, but that's the way you try and push it through. And that couple are on record for being involved with other land disputes, and there is a bit of a previous there. So we couldn't really take that back. It was a bit of a shitbag, really. Now, I know you can pay Supplegore office to come out and measure everything. Some people have said they've had helicopters go up there, and some have done GPS and all that sort of thing. Round here, it's not like that. You offer to pay money, they're still not coming out for ages. So if you pay money and they come out in a year, why do that when they're going to come out in 2, 3, 4 years? We're not in a rush now, because once we'd measured up, we thought, right, it should be there. We'll just come back in a little bit. So the post went in right on the edge of the road, all the way along, and now all the goats are safe. We just needed to get this goat herd safe and secure as much as possible. I know goats can jump over it. I know dogs can climb under it and jump over it. Electric fencing is a lot better, but we can't electric fence the whole area. I don't want to be moving electric fences all around doing rotational grazing. I want cells set up, take the goats to there, take the goats to there, have proper walkways, do it once, and it's all good. If we went with the electrical fencing, well, we've got other goats here. You know, at the moment we've split them up into 3 lots. So here with Mr. Bullseye, you've got all the adult girls and their kids that are old enough to actually go out on pasture now. On the island, at the moment, we've got the 2 shitbags on there, Lucy and Yeti, but we've also got the new mums there, and anyone that's just about to give birth stays on there. And then, of course, right over there next to the house, we've got the young girls and the young bucklings that are being fed up to be sold to the meat man. Sounds bad, doesn't it? The meat man. Brutal goat farming. But you've got the young girls there as well. So the ones that aren't quite ready to meet Mr. Bullseye. So when the girls are here, a couple of months old, we move them over there, and the bucklings. And then when they're ready for a bit of sexy time, then we bring them back over here, and Bullseye does his business. Or does he? I don't know. He's very, very quiet. We haven't heard him do his Elvis impersonation for ages. Normally he's like, woo, 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 and he's rape and pillage mode. So I don't know whether it's because we got rid of Scape. Flipping wind. Let's try and get out the wind. I don't know whether it's because we got rid of Scape and Mr. Tumnus. Nearly forgot his name. It's like I don't care, isn't it? Now there's not that element of competition, so he just, whether he fancies it, he just on my own terms. I think he's just slipping one in at night time when we're asleep. If he's no longer firing on all cylinders, we'll be selling him and his useless nads. It doesn't matter how handsome he is, he'll have to go. Hey, bugger me, it's another Takata! I know I'm finger pointing a lot and it's windy, guys, but there, that black dot, Takata's just got in there. I reckon they've been laying eggs in there, and that's why they haven't been giving us a break. Now, if that doesn't get out the water soon, or it doesn't get blown up onto this bank, the wind's coming this way, something's going to have that. Let's get round there. I know it sounds heartless, but the less of these we have round here, gee, we can't sleep at night. Flipping hundreds of them. I just heard a Takata. I don't know whether that's his parent. I can't see any. He's going to get blown to shore quite easy, I think. Ah. Up on the road is its parent. Right, I think I'm going to have to try and do a David Bellamy. Apparently I remind someone of David Bellamy, so I might as well live up to that. If it gets near the edge, I'll try and grab it. Then I go and put it on the hook as snakehead bait, eh? Oh! A bloody catfish just come up underneath it. He's near the edge. Right, let's try and get down there. This is probably the steepest part of the lake, of all the places. Come on, Lee. I told you to do a bit of jogging, didn't I? Here he comes. Ah, you useless bunch of feathers. Yeah, all right. Settle down, mate. I can't get in. Where's the stick? Smack it on the back of the head, then I can get it. Oh, he got long legs. Get out quick, mate. That's where the snakehead are, right near the edge. Come on, mate. Don't you even think about going back out. Yeah. Whoa, fly over land, you numpty. There you have it. A live demonstration by yours truly, how to rescue a bird without getting wet. Is there no end to this man's talents? Oh, we're all like a hole, don't we? You can now see the drainage pipe from next door. That's where the raging torrent used to come from. After my weeping dams, this is on my to-do list. So I want to create a nice wide channel like that, and then wall it up with rocks both sides. There's a lot of topsoil that's been deposited here, so I want to have a rootle in there, see what sort of quality that's like. But I want to put a small weeping dam here straight away, just to sort of like take the edge off the flow going that way when we get a big surge of water coming through, and hopefully that'll push it that way. So I don't know whether I could just do one that angle and maybe put the channel that angle, and on this side do the weeping dam there. That might be even better. I don't know. Never bloody done it before, have I? Right then, we're heading for home. I've got to water our palms. It's the first time I've done it since the dry season, and they're starting to not look as lush as they were, shall we say. I had to spray them last week with my new concoction, ward off the beetles that were noshing through one of the top, was it thong? That's not a thong, is it? Is it? I like thongs. Never see enough thongs these days, do we? Never mind French knickers. I can't remember the last time I saw a pair of French knickers. The world's not what it used to be, is it, eh? Right, I'm going to try and get out of this hurricane. Of course, I could take shelter under our female tree Twiggy. All right, my dear, how are we doing? Apparently, all trees are either male or female. That's not true, is it? No, that's not true. There's something like a papaya. You can have like a saloon door, can't you? One that swings both ways. It's male and female. to finish off, I'm going to show you my security upgrade on the gates. This is the extent we had to go through to stop these two awful goats biting the skin off my legs on a daily basis. So remember my old quail cage? All our quail are gone now. I've recycled that and I've just wired it to there, and she can't get out. Lucy can't get out. Yeah, he can't get out of a bloody paper bag, that boy. An impenetrable barrier. And we've got another addition to the goat island. It's not a goat. Under the feed station where we put the leucaena, there's a little white dot there. It's a young white cockerel. You might think that is so cruelly just putting one chicken on the island. Well, we got given two by Toon's mum. Bought them from the market, and I think they were 10 baht each. Basically, they just spray them all funky colours like bright green or bright pink, and the kids go crazy and nag their mums to buy it. So Toon's mum bought her two. Guess what? Once they got a bit bigger, she wasn't interested. So they outgrew the cage and they came here, put them on the island. One died straight away. The other one's still with us. But while he's there, he can eat a few scorpions and centipedes for us, hopefully. We are toying with the idea of moving all our Guy Barn chickens out there, so the native Thai chickens. They're good hunting. Still undecided which way to do it if we do. And then get a few new egg-laying chickens for the chicken coop and keep them in the chicken coop with the deep litter system that we got in there, and then just now and again let them out. Because Guy Barn, the problem is, even when you hack a wing off, they can still get over the fence. They don't weigh anything. They've got legs like grasshoppers. They just spring straight over the fence, and which is unacceptable because no one, bar no one, eats my vegetables and gets away with it. How healthy is that? You can't beat a bit of fresh choy sum, can you, eh? Tastes kind of funky. I'm not sure if I watered them with my diluted urine last week. No, it's beautiful. Take care, guys. See you again soon.